Hey loves, this is Bobby and I'm here with another video. And this is going to be a first for me. This is going to be an upcoming release video. I picked 20 books that I am really looking forward to that are coming out from May till October of this year. I was trying to go farther out than October, like maybe the rest of the year, but everything seems to kind of stop at October. So we're getting until October. This is kind of a mismatch of different books and genres. We've got a little dash of contemporary, and then we have a bunch of fantasy, a heck of a ton of horror, and so much queer representation. I am really excited for all of these. I've added a bit of the synopsis, or what I could kind of find out about the book, as well as the release date and any genres that they fall into. I like knowing what genres kind of I'm getting into with some of these, especially with an upcoming release, because we don't know what mood I'm going to be in. So yeah. Let's get started since this will be a little on the long side. So here we go. Number 1 is Blackwater Sisters by Zen Cho. This comes out on May 11th. It is a LGBT plus. The main character is queer, and the synopsis is: a reluctant medium discovers the ties that bind can unleash a dangerous power in this compelling Malaysian contemporary fantasy. So I read The Order of the Pure Moon Reflected in Water. I believe it was January I read it, and I loved it. It was beautiful. Zen Cho's writing is magnificent. It sucks you in, and that was a short story. I think this one is a short story as well, but I'm not 100% sure. And with The Pure Moon, even though this book was tiny, like it was under 150 pages, I felt like I was fully immersed in this world. That book also has queer representation. I won't say exactly what because I feel that would spoil some things, but it was wonderful. Her writing is just absolutely beautiful, so you better believe I am looking forward to this book. I need to read everything else Zen Cho has come out with because I know she does have other books. So she is one of my authors that I now, she was a new to me, and now I'm in love, and I am so looking forward to this book. So for number 2 is A Master of Jinn by P. Djeli Clark. This also comes out on May 11th. This one is a fantasy steampunk with LGBT plus representation. I believe the main romance in here is a lesbian romance, so I am very excited for that. I read Ring Shout by P. Djeli Clark October of last year, and it blew my mind. It was one of those books where as soon as I finished it, I did the audiobook, and the audiobook was phenomenal. It is a horror / cosmic horror, mind-blowing just amazingness. It was another short novel. It was under 150 pages, I believe, and like I said, as soon as I finished it, I wanted to start it over because it was that damn good. So this though is set in an alternative Cairo in 1912. There are 2 short story prequels. I don't think from what I understand, they don't tie specifically into this story, but they tie into this world, so you'll kind of understand more of what's going on, since this is a kind of steampunky world. This book follows the story of Fatima along with her girlfriend, and they must find the murderer of a member of a secret brotherhood of magic. It sounds really cool, but like I said, P. Djeli Clark blew me away with Ring Shout. I do have one of the prequels. I got it for free from Tor, I believe, when they do like ebooks for free once in a while. I did get it, so I do have that one. The other one though, I believe I can get from my library. But yeah, I loved his writing. It was magnificent, and like I said, this has a female romance in it, and steampunk, and holy crap, I loved it. As soon as I saw that this was and what it was about, I was like, I need it. I want this. So for number 3 is The Ravenous Dark by A.M. Strickland. This comes out May 18th, and it features, it is a YA fantasy, LGBT representation, as well as having a polyamorous relationship. And I'm just gonna like totally read you what this one is about, because from like the second and like 3rd word, I was like, yep, I'm getting this no matter what. And it is a pansexual blood mage reluctantly teams up with an undead spirit to start a rebellion among the living and the dead. Pansexual blood mage. Yes. Yes. Holy hell. This sounds amazing. Okay, so for number 4, this is going to be The Kingdoms by Natasha Pulley. This comes out May 25th, and it is a sci-fi time-traveling alternative history with LGBT representation. A man wakes up with amnesia and must find out who he is in this genre-bending, time-twisting alternative history that asks whether it's worth changing the past to save the future, even if it costs you everyone you love. Holy crap. Yes, I love time travel. I love anything that has to do with wibbly wobbly time travel. If it's all over the place, I don't care. I love time travel so much, and I love when it's kind of all over the place. I don't need time travel to make sense to me. I am not one of those people where I need, oh my goodness, if you change the past, can you really change the past? No, I don't care. I want it crazy. I want it so I can't even follow along sometimes. Like I love the really structured time travel, but I also love the, to quote Doctor Who again, the wibbly wobbly. I just love it. And this sounds really, really cool. So yes, you better believe this was on this list. This next one is one I'm reluctant about, but I am willing to give this author another try. I know this is a highly anticipated for so many people because the author's first book is a fan favorite. Everybody talks about it. I wasn't a fan of it, and I know it could possibly get me thrown out of the LGBT book community for not liking this damn book. Every time someone mentions, like I mentioned I don't like this book on like Facebook or something in one of my book groups, people are all like, how did you not like it? How did you not like it? I didn't like it, okay, sorry. And this one though is the author's second novel, and it is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. This comes out June 1st, and it is a adult time slip sapphic romance with a cynical 23-year-old who falls in love with a punk from the 1970s who gets displaced. So this is a new adult. It is time travel and it has LGBT representation. I did not like Red, White, and Royal Blue all that much. I gave it, I think, 2.5, maybe. I bumped it up to 3 stars. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I just did not like the characters. I didn't really care for the plot. I liked the main romance, and that was it. I didn't like anything. I hated the ending of that book, and I had a lot of issues with one of the characters in that book, but yeah, I just didn't care for that book, but I really liked the writing, so I'm really hoping I like this one. And then a 1970s punk that gets misplaced in time. Yes, so I have very high hopes, but I am going in a little reluctant on this one. I would probably do the audiobook, so as soon as I'm able to put it on hold on the library, I will. I do really want to read it. I just don't know about buying this one physically because I was gifted Red, White, and Royal Blue after waiting forever to get it, and then finally reading it and just a disappointment. So yeah, I'm a little hesitant. I'm just hoping that I enjoy the whole book a lot more than I did that one. Okay, so for number 6, this was one when I saw it, I instantly already pre-ordered this one because it sounds phenomenal. I haven't read anything else by this author, but I do have one of her books on my wish list, so hopefully I can get to that kind of soon. But this one, holy crap. It is called The Chosen and the Beautiful by Nevo, and it comes out on June 1st, and it is a fantasy historical fiction retelling with LGBT representation. This is a retelling or a reimagining of The Great Gatsby, wherein the main character is a queer Asian American magician immigrant in the 1920s jazz era. Holy crap. I really enjoyed The Great Gatsby. I read it, I think I was like fresh out of high school when I picked it up on my own. I didn't actually have to read it in school. And I fell in love with that book. I'm not the hugest fan of classics if you don't know, but I really did like The Great Gatsby. So when I saw that it was, I didn't know what this was about. I just heard that it was a Great Gatsby inspired kind of retelling. And then I found out it was queer. And I was like, holy crap. I need this. I need this. And an Asian inspired. I really want to see how the author handles an Asian American in this time period. And from what I understand, the main character is actually adopted by a wealthy white family. So we're also going to have that kind of who coming into who she is, as well as having to be around all these white people in a very, very racist time period. So I want to see. And then with the magic, oh my goodness, this sounds beautiful. Like, this book sounds like it's probably gonna wreck me, and I'm fine with that. And I want this. So yeah, this is one that is at the very top of my pre-order. I want this immediately. I believe the author has 2 other novellas, so I'm not 100% sure if this is a novella or if this is like a full-length novel. I don't care, novella or not, because I have found that so many authors do so amazing when it comes to novellas. They just suck you into these worlds, and in 150 pages, they manage to just transport you better than some books that are like 900 pages long. So yes, top of the list. This is like, no, almost like, I think this is like one of the very, very top of my list of books that I need in my hand immediately. Number 7 is Shudder by Melissa Larson. This comes out June 15th, and it is a mystery thriller. I am not a huge fan of mystery thrillers, but this one sounds just up my alley. That's something I would love. So I am very reluctant about this one. I will probably get it on Libby or not. Like I said, when it comes to mystery thrillers, I always guess the ending no matter what. Even before I read the book, I can usually just by like the synopsis, I will get who it is and what happened. So I'm very reluctant about reading thrillers, but I'm trying to read them more, hoping to come across that one that actually surprises me. But I do really like the writing in them. Sometimes I don't mind if I guess it. If the writing and the story is so good that it makes me forget the fact that I did actually figure out the big plot twist, I will really enjoy it. I grade thriller mysteries very, very different than I do other books, and it is for that. Like, it can be, oh, this was super cliche, I knew it was coming, and then there was like, holy crap, I saw what was coming, but I love the ride there. And this one is a young woman agrees to star in a filmmaker's latest project on a private island, but soon realizes the movie is not what she expected. I love any time when you, like horror, mystery, thriller type of things, when people are stuck on like in islands or in like areas that they just can't get out of. I love that whole trapped feeling. It gets my anxiety kind of like high, and I find that I enjoy a book a lot more like that because it gets that kind of like visceral like reaction from me. So I'm really banking on this one being very atmospheric and getting me kind of like tense, but I love anytime people, especially when it's islands, when it's like deserted islands, I love it because it's like, holy crap, you can't go anywhere because you're not gonna be able to swim, you know, 70 miles or however many miles to the nearest ocean. You're trapped, and I love that. So this one sounds really cool. It was one of my kind of, will I add this to the list or not, but I love the premise of it so much, so I did add it. Number 8, this is another one that's like at the top of my list. It sounds phenomenal, and it is The Queen of Katcas by V. Castro. This comes out June 22nd, and it is a horror. And we're following in 2018, a woman comes to Texas to attend a wedding on a farmhouse that is known for an urban legend, and that is the urban legend of La Reina de las Chicaras, the Queen of the Katcas, or Cicadas. I always say Cicadas, that's how I pronounced it as a kid, and it just stuck with me. In the 1950s, a Texas farm worker from Mexico is murdered. An Aztec goddess of death hears her dying cries of the woman and creates a plan for both of them to be reborn and feed on vengeance and worship. Yes. We have like kind of 2 different timelines and a Aztec goddess, and hopefully just horror inducing. Like, I am loving this. It has like that kind of ghosty aspect as well as vengeful spirits and like a goddess and people being tormented. I want this. The name alone though, the Queen of the Katcas, was like, or Cicadas, like I said, I pronounce it Cicadas. I know it's wrong, but whatever. Yeah, it just sounds really awesome. Everything about this though, like as soon as I saw the name, I was like, holy crap. And then I saw the cover and I'm like, ooh. And then I read what it was about and I'm like, yep. For number 9, there is a key word in here where I'm pretty sure you can figure out why I was very excited for it. And this is Star Eater by Kristen Hall. It comes out June 22nd. It is an adult fantasy horror with LGBT representation. And it is an order of cannibal nuns pay an unimaginable price to preserve their magical bloodline. Did you guess that keyword? It was cannibal. I love anything to do with cannibals. As soon as I saw cannibal, I didn't even read what the book was about. I just saw cannibal. And I was like, no, oh yes, I'm getting that. I'm going to read that. I hope we get some like true cannibalism going on in here. This sounds kind of horrifying and I love it, but like cannibal nuns, give it to me. Give it. I need it. I need it. I want it in my life. Anything to do with cannibals, I love. I will read anything that has to do with cannibals. It's just one of those things I've always found fascinating. So you better believe this was on the list as soon as I found out about it. I need it. I want it. Give it to me. For number 10, this is another one I'm very reluctant on. I put it on this list because I do want to read more by this author, even though the first book I read by this author was a 2-star and I hated absolutely everything about it. But this author is so highly acclaimed, like everybody wrecks it when it comes to thrillers, and I'm just like, I didn't like the book. But I do have one other book by this author. I still haven't read it. This one, though, definitely sounds more up my alley, even though the other book I read by this author was exactly something I would love and I didn't like it. And this is Survive the Night by Riley Sager. This comes out June 29th. It is an adult horror thriller, and we're following the story. In November of 1991, George W. Bush is in the White House, Nirvana's in the tape deck, and a movie-obsessed college student, Charlie Jordan, is in a car with a man who might be a serial killer. I love the whole, like I've mentioned before, I love the whole kind of trapped feeling, and I love the whole did you happen to get in a car with a killer. I love The Twilight Zone. One of my favorite episodes that to this day still freaks me out is the hitchhiker episode. When you're stuck in a car with someone you don't know, or if you keep seeing someone, but this one is actually being like stuck in the car with someone that could be a serial killer. I've already kind of made a prediction on this. I'm hoping it's freaking wrong, but this has one of my favorite premises. Final Girls is one of the other ones, is like a top tier premise for me. I love anything to do with Final Girls when it comes to horror movies and stuff. That book was 2 stars. I literally hated every single aspect of that book. So I'm hoping that this one works out well. This is another one I took a gamble with adding onto this list. I probably could have put something else, but I did put this one because it sounds really good, and I'm just hoping that I like the writing and everything a lot more. I do have Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. I haven't read it yet. I'm hoping to get to it maybe before this one, but if I don't, it's fine. I like the sound of this one a lot more. So here is to hoping that I get a good thriller out of this, and then I really do hope it does have more of those horror aspects to it, and I'm just hoping we get an ending that I don't see coming, but I doubt it. This is another one of those top ones that I need immediately as soon as it comes out, and that is Gear Breakers by Zohana Makuta. This comes out June 29th. It is a YA sci-fi with LGBT representation, and this is 2 girls on opposite sides of a war discover they're fighting for a common purpose and falling for each other. Lesbian romance featuring giant freaking robots. Giant freaking robots. Lesbian representation. Holy crap. Yes, you can imagine. I need this like immediately. I love anything to do with like giant robots. This says it's kind of like a Pacific Rim type of thing, like, or like Gundam. I don't care. I just want giant robots. And then we had a lesbian romance, and we get like an enemies to lovers. So, and this cover is gorgeous. I need this. Yes, 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 yes. Give it to me. I want this in my life. I need this in my life. Giant robots with lesbian pilots. That's all I have to say, because that sounds phenomenal. This next one is one of my absolute favorite authors. I have read everything by him except one, and it's because that one book is kind of like, I think it's nonfiction because it's kind of like not an anthology. It talks about different movies or books or whatever. I think it's different horror books. So I haven't gotten to that one. I do have it. I just have to read it. But all of his other actual like fiction books I have read. They have all been 4 or 5 stars. So yes, you can imagine this is at the top of my list. I need it. I want it. I want it now. And that is the Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. This comes out July 13th. And it is in homage of the slasher films, which is going to be following 6 girls who belong to a survivor support group that has been meeting for over a decade. Well, one of the girls misses a meeting and it becomes clear someone knows about the group and is determined to take the women's lives apart once again, piece by piece. This is an adult horror thriller. I love Grady Hendrix. My favorite book by him is My Best Friend's Exorcism. I know everybody absolutely adores the Southern Book Club's Guide to Vampire Slaying or Slaying Vampires. I always switch it. I did really like it. It was a 4-star, but it was a low 4-star. It was a good book. I thought it was a good vampire book, but holy crap, it had a lot of slow parts in there. I actually prefer, that one is my least favorite book by him, so yeah. I just wish it had a different cover. I'm not a huge fan of the cover. I want a little busier cover. I was hoping it would be more like My Best Friend Exorcism, which has a really kind of busy, cool looking cover. Even We Sold Our Souls has a really cool cover. I wasn't a big fan of the, Book Club's Guide cover as well. I don't know, when it comes to his book, I like the kind of over the top. I usually love simplistic ones, but when it comes to his book, I feel like a little more is like a little better. But yes, I need this one. I want it. Number 13 is The Taking of Jake Livingston by Ryan Douglas. This comes out July 13th, and it is a YA horror paranormal with LGBT representation. It says that this one is Get Out meets Danielle Vega. Get Out is one of the greatest horror movie, like modern horror movies. Everything about that was freaking amazing. Like the amount of tension and everything that came with that movie. I still stress out about it. And then Danielle Vega, who wrote the Merciless series. I really like that series, so I do like her. So for this one to be Get Out meets like Danielle Vega's type of writing, I'm like, yes. It says this is a YA where survival is not guaranteed. I love that. We don't even know if our main character is safe. And Jake Livingston is one of the only black kids at a prep school. It's hard enough fitting in, but to make matters worse and definitely more complicated, Jake can see the dead and becomes haunted by a vengeful spirit just as bodies start turning up dead. So, yes. This sounds amazing. Yes, I look forward to this one. This sounds like it's kind of like a Sixth Sense type of thing. So I hope we have, and then the fact that it literally says survival is not guaranteed. I love that. I love high stakes. We don't know what could happen to certain characters. Even our main character, will our main character make it out alive? I love that kind of anticipation. So this one just sounds really cool. The cover was awesome. I love the look of this cover. I thought it was amazing. So yeah. This is another one that's at like the very top of my list. I cannot wait for this. It sounds really cool. Before number 14 is She Who Becomes the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. This is a adult fantasy historical fiction with LGBT representation. This is a Mulan meets Song of Achilles. Yes. Holy crap. I just saw that and I'm like, I don't need to know anything else about this book. I just know I want it. I need it immediately. If you don't know, Song of Achilles is one of the very few books that made me cry. And not only did it make me cry, I openly sobbed like a damn baby because that ending just crushed my soul. So I'm kind of hoping this book crushes my soul. And Mulan is such an... Yeah, I know it's because of the Disney and I know a lot of, it's not accurate. But Song of Achilles meets Mulan. Yes. Give it to me. The author describes it as Revenge of the Genderqueers. A bold reimagining of the rise of the founding emperor of the Ming Dynasty that raises provocative questions about gender, fate, and individual power. Genderqueer as well. There is so much about this book that I love, and I need, and I want, and I need it all immediately. It sounds, and then the cover is freaking stunning. But yeah, sounds freaking awesome. And like I said though, Mulan meets Song of Achilles. I hope this absolutely destroys me. And I'm looking forward to this. This next one, this author is now one of my all-time favorite authors. I've read 2 books by her. This is actually a republished book. It's not a completely new release from what I understand. They're republishing it. The cover is amazing, and this author is an automatic buy. I want to get the rest of her books. I've read 2, and like I said, one of them was a 4-star, one of them was a 5-star, and is now one of my instant favorites. And this is Certain Dark Things by Sylvia Moreno-Garcia. This comes out on September 7th. It is a urban fantasy meets horror. It says, a pulse-pounding neo-noir that reimagines vampire lore. Vampires, humans, cops, and criminals collide in the dark streets of Mexico City. Do Adel and Domingo even stand a chance of making it out alive, or will the city devour them all? Vampires, yes. I love vampires. I even like cheesy vampires, but I love vampires. They've always been one of my favorite kind of supernatural creatures. When I read Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Moreno-Garcia, I fell in love with it. I did a cover recreate photo for it. I just loved everything about it, and the setting of Mexico is just phenomenal. Her writing is amazing. That book did give me the creepy crawlies. It was great. I loved it. But when it came to the Gods of Jade and Shadow, my heart, I love everything about that book. I read it at the end of March, and it blew me away. I loved it from start to finish, everything about that book. So Sylvia Moreno-Garcia is a automatic buy from me. But like I said, from what I understand, this is a republished. They're doing like a new cover and everything of that. I love this cover. I think it's really cool. It seems to fit the story, even though I don't really know. All I know is vampires and a city that can just like destroy everybody. So yes, I need all the collision, and I want this, and I cannot wait. I do need to read the rest of her works, but yeah, she's an automatic buy for me, so yes. Number 16 is White Smoke by Tiffany D. Jackson. This comes out September 14th. And this is Get Out meets The Haunting of Hill House. White Smoke is about a girl and her family who move into a newly renovated, picture-perfect home in a dilapidated Midwestern city and are haunted by what she thinks are ghosts. Cedarville has its secrets, and secrets always find a way through the cracks. This is a YA horror thriller. I read Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. That book punched me in the damn chest and destroyed me. It was amazingly written, and I am a fan of her writing, but I want to see, because the way she handled Monday's Not Coming, it was horrifying, and it wasn't even a horror. It just, ooh, that book hurt. So to see her actually handle a horror, I am fully on board. I cannot wait for this. She has such a amazing and kind of unique storytelling, so I cannot wait to see how this plays out, and especially with the whole Get Out meets The Haunting of Hill House. I really hope this has that kind of dreamlike quality that Shirley Jackson has. I love horror that has that dreamlike, do I know what's actually happening? Can I trust anything? Can I trust what I'm reading? Because I love the whole unreliable narrative. And then Get Out, as I mentioned before, that movie still messes me up. But yeah, I cannot wait for this one. This is one of those automatic buys for me when it comes out. I need it. Like I said, I just really hope we get that dreamlike writing, because in Monday's Not Coming, we do have like hints of it coming out. So I am ready for this. Okay, so for this next book, this is one of my other top tier, holy crap, I need it in my hands immediately, like right now. I need it. And that is Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. This one comes out on September 21st, and it is an adult fantasy featuring LGBT representation. I read The House in the Cerulean Sea last year, and holy crap, everything about that book. I bought it physically, and then I was reading it on my way to work. I fell so in love with it that when I got to work, I turned around and I just bought the freaking audiobook because I needed it. I needed to finish that book because I needed to know what was going to happen, because I was already so invested on what was going on. I'm not a huge fan of kids. I wanted to adopt every single one of those kids in that book. Everything about it was just wonderful. It was just a feel-good book, and that's the thing. That's all I wanted, was a feel-good book that was queer and didn't end in freaking tragedy for one of the queer characters. And that's what I got. It was just freaking lovely. It was amazing. So when I found out this book was coming out, I have already pre-ordered it. I need it. I want it. And the synopsis for this one is: when a Reaper comes to collect Wallace Price from his own funeral, Wallace suspects he really might be dead. Instead of leading him directly to the afterlife, the Reaper takes him to a small village where there is a peculiar tea shop. run by a man named Hugo. Hugo is the tea shop's owner to the locals and to the ferryman to the souls, who needs to cross over. But Wallace isn't ready to abandon the life he barely lived. With Hugo's help, he finally starts to learn about the things he missed in life. It sounds beautiful. I just want another feel-good, cute story. That's all I want. I haven't read anything else by TJ Klune. I have his other books on my TBR as well as on my wish list, so I can hopefully get to them soon. I loved his writing. I don't know how his other books are, but if they're even just a slight bit like The House in Cerulean Sea, I will love them. This one seems like it's going to have that same vibe. I love the cover for this one. It's very cute, and I just want it. I need it in my life as soon as possible. Waiting till September is going to suck. Okay, so for number 18, it is Summer Suns by Lee Mandello. This comes out September 28th, and it is an adult horror thriller with LGBT representation. And it says it is a simmering southern queer gothic that crosses street racing with academic intrigue, all haunted by hungry ghosts. I didn't want to read too much about this one because it did say thriller, and I like to go in those not knowing too much, but southern queer gothic, yes, that sounds amazing, and this cover is like really beautiful. But yes, I love this. I want all the southern queer gothic. Give it to me. Give it to me now. But yeah, this sounds really cool. I love the whole kind of street racing thing going along with this as well. It sounds really cool. I'm very excited for this one. And for number 19, this author became one of my favorite authors last year. I fell in love with her debut series. It was amazing. I talked about it nonstop last year. I do want to do a reread of it, and I'm very excited for her next book. And this is Little Thieves by Margaret Owen, and it comes out October 5th. And it is a YA fantasy retelling. This says, I'm just going to read the synopsis for this one. It is once upon a time there was a beautiful, kind princess who was betrothed to the prince of a faraway kingdom. When she sets off for her new home, her mother gave her a maid for a companion on the journey, but instead of serving the princess, the wicked maid stole her place. For a year, the true princess toiled away like a common goose girl, while the wicked maid lived high in the palace, fooling the kingdom. But the truth came out. The princess took back her name, her crown, and her husband, and the imposter died for her crimes. Then one day, the wicked maid told her story. I love villain kind of retellings. I love when we get to see their side of things. I loved The Merciful Crow and The Faithless Hawk by Margaret Owen. I fell in love with the series. I literally talked about it nonstop. I want to do a reread of it, and it was just everything I liked in it. Especially because in her worlds, or at least in that one, I'm hoping she does it again in this one, is LGBT is seen as normal. It is normalized. It's not questioned. It's not like, oh my goodness, they're queer, they have to go through some kind of suffering. No, it's just like, okay, they're queer, we accept that, let's move on with our life. So I really hope we get that in this book as well. But yeah, I love retellings, I love reimaginings, so this is at the other top of my list for these, but that's just Margaret Owen. I really, really enjoyed her writing. I was just blown away by The Merciful Crow, especially because that book was a cover buy. I had no idea what it was about. It just had an absolutely beautiful cover, and I picked it up on a whim. I got it on sale. I think I only paid a couple bucks for it, and I like blew through it in like a day because I could not stop reading it because it was so good. Okay, so this next one is the last book on this list, and this one is pure cover. Holy crap, the cover is terrifying and I want it. I honestly, it sounds amazing, and I did not know that I'd actually read a book by this author in the past, so that is even better because I love the writing. I need to get to the second book on that one, actually. That totally reminded me that I never did. So this one is Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Cassandra Khaw. This comes out October 19th, and it is an adult horror novella. The book I read previously by this author was Hammer on Bone. It is a Lovecraftian type of horror book, like the cosmic horror. I really dug it. It was really cool. It was another novella. This one is about a gorgeous, creepy, haunted house tale, steeped in Japanese folklore and full of devastating twists. A mansion standing abandoned, its foundation resting on the bones of brides and its walls packed with the remains of the girl's sacrifice to keep her company. look at this cover. Look at this cover. It is nightmare inducing and it is beautiful and I love it and I need this in my life. I read Hammer and Bones years ago. I really, really liked it. I always meant to get to the second book. I just never got around to it. That reminds me now, I am probably going to look on Libby or Hoopla or wherever I can try and get a hold of it because I want to read that second one because I remember really liking the first one. Like I said, it was a cosmic horror and she did it really, really well. So I'm already a fan of this author's writing and I did not know that until I looked up how to pronounce this author's name. Yeah, but Cassandra Claw has some really cool writing, but this one just sounds amazing. A mansion built on the foundation of bones and there are bodies on the wall, and I believe these people are going to this house for a wedding and shit starts happening. That's all I need. That's all I need. And Japanese folklore. Thank you. Thank you. And it comes out in October. Thank you. Thank you. You better believe this is at the top of my list as well. It sounds phenomenal. I'm pretty sure it's going to be phenomenal. Just the plot. Just the whole haunted house with a foundation of bones and girls in the walls. I expect nightmares just from this cover alone. So yes, there we go. That just sounds perfect. So, yep, that wraps up the upcoming books that I am looking forward to. There are 20. There are a lot more, but these are just the kind of top 20 that really stuck out to me, or ones that I'm really hopeful for, like with the Riley Sager as well as the other thriller and the Casey McQuiston one. So, yes. But so many horror, so much queer representation. I am so excited for all these queer books. I am here for it and I need them. But yeah, are there any of these that you are looking forward to? Definitely let me know. Or if there are any books that I didn't put on this list that you're looking forward to, I would love to know. I love getting recs. So yes, there we go though. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll drop all the social media links down below. Take care and happy reading. Bye.